So hey, Cobal here, and here's Bumpty.
Hey,
Um, so shall we get started right away?
yeah, I guess so.
So first question first, asked by Eagle's Eye. How different is the game in its current state from what you first had in mind before starting the project? So you had,
Um, so at first we wanted the game to be a bit more about exploration. So there would be some kind of landmark you could go to and fight a boss, and depending on your level, you could beat it or not, or you needed to XP more before going to the boss. And actually, there is still some trace of that in
yeah,
the
in the
artwork.
in the artwork on Steam, like there is still a castle on the background in the orange drawing.
Yeah.
um, yeah, it was supposed to be some kind of like having to go and kill some bosses and then come back and be able to beat the final boss or something. But then we realized like that didn't seem to be the point of this type of game. So
Yeah,
we kind
yeah.
of
In terms of mechanic, it didn't feel really right to go to a specific place because the enemies are still shooting at you, and it can be quite difficult to just go to a direction and then you feel frustrated because you need to stop to kill the enemy. So you need to choose between moving
yeah.
or staying stationary and kill the enemies. So in this kind of game, I feel like this kind of exploration doesn't really work. It works a bit against the main gameplay
Yeah,
loop.
you're not really a master of your direction, basically. Like you have to react instead of like being able to say like I want to go that way. Um,
But in the end, we are quite happy with the current state of the game, and it's always cool to see how it evolved.
yeah. So yeah, that was the first question. Second question by X Johnny X. Simple question: will online lobbies be added someday to be able to play with other players? Um, Not at the moment, I'd say.
Yeah, actually, online multiplayer has been requested a lot for Bounty of One. But when we started working on the project, we didn't think that it would go so big, and we didn't plan on doing like online multiplayer. And the code has to be structured for that specific purpose. So doing online multiplayer now would basically need us to uh, go back from scratch, like do the game from scratch again, and
which would be a lot of work.
which would be a lot of work. So I don't think it will happen.
And a bonus question: how often do we plan on interacting with the community in this way? Uh, Probably about once a month. Uh, at least that's what has been discussed now. But I guess it will depend on how um, how the reactions are to this kind of talk. But yeah, basically once a month. A question by Gaming God. Now, what inspired us to become devs and make roguelike games? So, do you want to
Okay.
answer that
Oh
one?
yeah, I can go ahead for first. I always loved like game design since I was a child. For example, I never, I always modified the rules of Monopoly and board games with my friends. So I really had that since I was little. And why roguelite? Because I'm a roguelite player. Like I play a lot of roguelite and a lot of indie games, and I really enjoy these kind of games and the game design approach of roguelite in general. And it's, I think, one of the most like it's really cool to do roguelite as indie games. Like it's
Yeah,
more easier to do games as roguelite than games with big stories that need a lot of content.
yeah. To me, that would be the main reason as well. Like, kind of a question about being realistic. Like, there's only two of us, and like it makes sense to have like to focus on a small loop of gameplay that works well and that you can do over and over again. and focus on that experience than as a first project, because that's one of our first projects, to go all out and like spend years doing creating a world and stuff. And that's, in my opinion, a bit unrealistic to do. Like some people have had a lot of luck and make it happen, but usually that's really risky.
And it's also great to start small and
Yeah.
do good things, but small things.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Outside of that, I was not a big roguelite gamer. I think I played Rogue Legacy uh, and Hades before that.
But now
and some old ones.
But now you're playing a lot more roguelite. Like
yeah. Well, I've been having more roguelites recently, because like obviously I need to learn more about the genre if I'm to work in that. Yeah, that's it. Next question, which was asked by X Johnny again. Does our community meet our expectation regarding the development? Well, actually, it went over our expectation. Like, we're really happy with the community and how involved it has been in the development. Like, since even before the release of the early access, we had like a lot of people following us and helping us, basically testing the game and giving us a lot of ideas, a lot of which are now in the game as well. So yeah, it's been really great, and to have the community being involved that involved into the game.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it, and I didn't expect that it would be this big. But it's really great to talk with other players of our game and discuss the different development decision, etc., or design decision.
Yeah, it was nice that since
it's still nice.
Yeah, it is still, and yeah, even in the first step of the project, even when it was in itch.io, there was already some people following us and coming to the Discord to tell us like what they would like to see. So yeah, it's been a while, and it has continued to. A question now from Perkins Printer. Yeah, will there be some multiplayer without remote play? Yeah, basically we answered that already. So the short answer would be no, because like it would require us to redo the game from the ground up. So that would be quite a huge endeavor that we cannot currently take.
Yeah.
Question from Secret now. Is there anything on the roadmap currently? Do you want to start?
Maybe you can start, because it's mostly you've been working on.
Currently, there is a few things on the roadmap. We want to improve the encyclopedia to have more tabs that it has at the moment. It will eventually include information about the upgrades, as well as information about the lore of the game, so the description of the characters, the description of the enemies and stuff like this. So that's something that you can look forward to. And outside of that, we have still 2 bosses planned as well, and 1 character, as well as like adding more objects to the game, and a lot of visual overalls, I'd say.
Yeah, there is some polish and quality of life thing
that I'm working on.
Yeah, and for the new sheriffs, the idea would be to have a rooster, I think.
A roster
of bosses, so you don't always face, for example, Rex, Brutus, and Cupcake, and sometimes it's another sheriff with its own enemy types also, and same for Crazy Denzel. Sometimes it will be another boss.
The Undertaker would always be the last boss though, because like
Yeah.
that's kind of like the theme of the game. But then you would have like different bosses, so that would bring some difference from one run to another one. And bonus question: do you guys have any end vision? Well,
I think we already
basically that.
for
And
that.
so yeah,
That's our goal
so for now that would be like once we've done all those, we would be pretty much at the end of the early access, I'd say.
Yeah, we would probably release from that point.
So the next question by Jester: will some form of story mode be added at a certain point? Outside of what I talked about in the encyclopedia, where you would be able to find the story and the lore behind all the enemies and all the characters, I don't believe that there would be a story mode per se, except the main mode, which is basically being chased and vanquishing the Undertaker that has put the bounty on your head. But no, there wouldn't be a story mode per se. Another question by Secret. Are you guys able to work full-time on the game, or is it a project during free time?
Well, we are working full time right now on Bounty of One, so we are really grateful for the success of our game that made us available to work full time on the project.
Thanks to the success of the game, we were able to create our studio.
Yeah, also, yeah.
So basically now we're full-time devs. So yeah, it's not a free time thing. It's we are working full-time on it now, which is great. Thanks, guys. And second question: since endless mode is beyond the intended end of the game, is the lag in it going to be addressed? To be honest, we've worked on optimizing this quite a few times, and the problem is always basically the same. It just like pushes back the limit.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there will always be some kind of hard limit to it.
Yeah, at first it was lagging really fast, and then we did some optimization, so it was a bit later on, but then people would shoot 2 times more projectiles, so it needed more optimization and more optimization. So we will keep working on optimizing endless mode, but I cannot be sure it's the issue with the lag will be completely addressed. We hope so, but
But I believe when we first started, like when we first released, like getting to level 35 was really, really hard because of the lag, and now we can see people going up to 64, which takes like maybe 2-3 hours to do.
Hours.
So yeah, I think like the thing is like if we will keep on working on the optimization of that, but I believe the end result will always be that in the end people will be able to go even further and they will lag at level 70. And
we thought about some like design decision to do to avoid that, like for example reducing the power of the player over time, but I feel like people could get frustrated if we do that. Or maybe we also thought about stopping like getting levels or chests at some point, but same, I feel like as the current state of endless mode, people would not enjoy that we changed it this way. Like I think people like that they can break endless mode, and for some player it's part of the fun to say, oh, I broke the game and it lags so much.
So yeah, it's a thin line to walk. And second bonus question, will we ever get epic or legendary crit chance upgrade? Well, basically you have them already. It just requires you to have the object godly die, but they're in the game.
Yeah, so there is even mythical crit chance upgrade.
Yeah, there is even higher than legendary. So yeah, it's already in the game. And now a question from that bagel man. What was your inspiration for this game? What's your end goal with this game? So the second question has been answered, but the first one is a good one. So when we started, the inspiration for our game was like obviously there was Vampire Survivor, but we wanted to have more of a game that was like uh, make the best of what you get. So the second inspiration was Binding of Isaac,
Yeah.
where you basically get the item and you have very few choices as to whether or not you want them. It's just
Yeah,
like you,
and also with Binding of Isaac, there is this things about synergies between items. Like you get this one, and if you get this one with this one, it gets
yeah.
something new, and it works well together.
And the two others inspiration were Hades and a mobile game called Arch Hero, uh, which which were the mechanic of like walking and shooting was from basically.
Yeah, you had to stop to shoot in Arch Hero also. And apart from that, also, I feel like I got also inspired by games I played a lot. I'm a card game player. I played a lot of Slay the Spire, and I really enjoyed like making my own decks and building like those cards together. And I felt like I still have that a bit in Bounty on Bounty of One. Like for example, you will get a Bulletstorm, projectiles spawn and turn around you, and you will get like a lot of peers, and together it works well because
Yeah.
they don't unspawn anymore and stuff like that. I feel like are really satisfying as a player when you learn that those things work together, and it gets you stronger. And it's the same feeling I have when I play a card game like Slay the Spire, and I wanted to have the
Yeah.
same kind of feeling in Bounty of One.
Yeah, synergies were the main focus of the game design at first, and still are now. Uh, uh, do you plan on adding any form of story? Same as what I said
Yeah,
before.
there is some lore, but
It's gonna be, yeah, there will be lore included in game, but not a story mode per se. And a question from Sarah. In a previously accepted community suggestion last year, it was said that you were waiting for your music composer to give you the track names of the game soundtracks and that you would post it on YouTube, Spotify, and or sell it on Steam. Is there an update on that yet? Uh, Basically, we're still thinking about it, but basically we wanted to have all the tracks of the game as well. Like, it would make more sense to have the entire thing, and we're still looking into how to do that properly as well, because we want to be able to share that with our composer in a fair way as well, because like yeah, they're part of the game as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also just a small note, we really love the music of Bounty of One and what they did, and it's always great to see that other people also really enjoyed the music of Bounty of One.
Yeah. And now a question from Fab. Are you planning a console release, a mobile release? Do you plan to sell goodies of the game? Is your studio working on other projects? If so, can we know more?
3 questions.
So first question, are we planning on a console release or a mobile release? We are thinking about it, but there is no guarantee as of now.
Yeah.
But it basically it would be something that would come once we release the game on Steam, I guess. But yeah, it's hard to say. It's really.
Yeah, I think it would be good to have it,
It would,
but
yeah.
I can't guarantee it. So we will probably try to push Nintendo Switch and
And
mobile,
mobile, yeah.
uh, and for the other consoles, even
But yeah,
more unsure.
but still, like we're we're still kind of new to all this as well, so like we still have to look into it and
Yeah,
how it
exactly.
works
Like
and
we never
how we
ported a
can do
game.
it actually.
Yeah, we never ported a game to console. So yeah.
Hopefully we want to be able to do it, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Second question: do we intend to sell goodies of the game? Well, I guess it depends of our community and if they seem to want
Yeah,
goodies mostly.
if the community is really interested in it and want it, why not?
As of for now, we don't have many people requesting it.
Yeah,
I think I've seen one.
2-3 people I think I saw already, but that's not enough to start selling goodies. So yeah, it depends if people really want it.
Because basically we obviously don't want to be in the situation where we build like 20,000 goodies and then we have them all and nobody wants to buy them. So yeah, well, it would depend of like the traction that our community would.
It has a big upfront cost to have goodies.
Is our studio working on other projects? Right now, Bounty of One is the main project that we have, but we know that it is slowly coming to an end when it comes to developing it. So yeah, we're thinking about the next one, but it's still quite blurry, and I'm not quite sure we want to reveal anything about that yet. But
we are already working and thinking about it internally. But yeah, nothing really concrete yet.
Another question from Magicern 965. Will there ever be microtransaction? No.
I don't think so.
We both dislike them, to be honest, and also they require quite a lot of power to be able to develop. I think like it needs to be super secure and everything, and you need like servers and everything.
So yeah, microtransactions are more common like free-to-play games, and we are not free-to-play, so we won't go this way.
We would rather always do how is it called again? Premium games rather than freemium games, I think.
Yeah.
Do you have more characters in mind, and are you planning on character upgrades, customization? We have one coming that is already kind of teased in the game. So if you've been paying attention, you should be able to know which one. And when it comes to character upgrade customization, it's not something that we're thinking about at the moment.
Yeah, in terms of game design, I don't think it will exist because we want the game to be kept simple, and we prefer to add a new character with a new item than doing like multiple weapons for the same character. It makes it a bit more complex, and but in terms of customization, like skins, for example, I don't know.
Yeah, not at the moment, but it might. Who knows? In my playtime, I personally thought that there are not enough sheriffs. I don't think that there. Yeah, so that's basically what we said earlier. Like we are planning on having more sheriffs in order to have a roster of them that would change with every run, and that way it would be it would be a bit funnier, and your run would change because like every sheriff comes with its own set of enemies that come with it. So yeah, it would shake things up a little bit, I think. Question from Yosuke. Do you have a 1.0 release date in sight? Regarding a release date, like we don't have one. Like we know it's coming. fairly soon.
Yeah, in the
But
next few months.
yeah, it's in the next few months, but it's not set in stone just yet. It would be around summertime, I think.
Yeah, around summertime if everything goes well. Like we have the objectives for this release. We know we want at least 2 more sheriffs in the game, 1 more character. So it depends how much time it will take to go there, and when we feel also the game is enough polished in terms of effects, and quality of life, etc.
Yeah, we don't want to rush things like in set a date and be obligated to release it by that date if we're not ready. We would rather be ready and then release than the opposite. So okay, greetings. Let's go. Then hello, I have so this is a question from Ozrak 512. Hello, I have a question about attack speed. My record is 614 attack speed per second, but it didn't feel like it. Yeah, it's because the maximum would be your frame rate. Like it will work, but like because of your frame rate, they will be on the same place. They will stack on each other at some point.
Yeah, because usually also when you have that much attack speed, it's in endless mode, so it means you have less frame rate, like you are at 30 FPS or less. So it means it can only show 30 projectile per seconds. So they will just be stacked on each other. So they will still do the damage. It's just that you won't see them as different projectiles.
Visually, they will look the same.
Yeah.
So usually over 60 is a bit of an overkill. Yeah, sure. What do you think sets Bounty of One apart from other arena survivor roguelikes? I think what sets us apart, at least from the first one that appeared, would be like the way we handled the synergies. Like for example, the big one, Vampire Survival, was basically a set of synergies that are you take this item with this upgrade and you will get this better version of the item, and that's something that we wanted to avoid.
Also, like one thing that is quite important is that in other arena survivor game, roguelike, most of the time there is like you have your upgrade and you can upgrade your upgrade, and in Bounty of One we didn't want to have that straightforward upgrade of your upgrade, and so you have your objects, which is basically the upgrade in the other game, and then you have your upgrade on the side, and your upgrade will upgrade in some point your object, but your upgrades can upgrade all of your objects, and depending on what kind of object you do, you will go one way or another. We wanted to have something more modular and flexible, where basically you can build really your own strategy and your own build, a bit like a card game.
Yeah,
like I've been playing.
It's up to you to make your build, like given what you're given. And obviously the other thing was the way we handle the thing, the way we fire our weapon as well. Like the fact that we have to walk, that when we walk we don't fire, and when we stand still we do fire. So it's a bit more of a kiting game than other games of the genre, where you eventually just stand still, which happens in our game as well. But that's something that we wanted to avoid at first, as much as possible. We wanted the players to be a bit more active, so it might be a bit slower at first, but then it gets hectic later. So that was a question from Not Postage. Do you plan to add a banished item option for things that appear a lot? think we've discussed it.
Yeah.
And we have not yet come to a conclusion on that.
Yeah. I think it could be an interesting mechanic, but at the same time, like one of the pillars of the game is that you have to adapt to what you get. And if an object is banished all the time, it might mean that it's not like good enough. And we want the game to be balanced, like we are tracking the object pick rates, so they all are approximately on the same level. And so those kind of system would maybe make the game so everybody would banish the same object, and I don't think it's really healthy for the game. But at the same time, like some people don't like certain objects and some other do. But we want also player to be creative in their build, and so sometimes you are forced to choose a specific object, and then you realize that it can be interesting with this other upgrade or with this other object. So it might, like we might add it, but it will still be contained. Like we have a lot of objects, and then you can banish maybe just a few of them.
Yeah.
Like I think a banish option would make more sense for upgrades than for objects, but would probably be a lot more broken.
Yeah, it would be super strong.
But could be interesting. I feel with objects you could be frustrated because you don't really see the impact of it. Like you banish this object, but you didn't know that.
Fall onto it.
Yeah. You don't know if you would have fallen into it. But with upgrade, you know you would have gone into that upgrade. So I feel like it's stronger if we have a banish for upgrade, but it's also more interesting. So, but really difficult to balance out. So
Yeah,
that probably would be a legendary object.
Yeah, it could be an object, but that would be so strong. Because basically, if you banish like a type of upgrade, like that raises up the chance of having any other ones.
there is already some object that does it.
Yeah, okay, does it.
Okay, does it, and it's one of the best objects in the game.
And it does it with just one.
Yeah, no, but the banish would be only to one, I think, also.
Okay. Can you make it so you can navigate the encyclopedia with LB, RB buttons on the controller?
I can look into that, but currently how the controllers are set is that in the main scene before you launch the game, we don't have access to all of the button of the controller. So it's the actual state of the game. So things could change, but right now it's not as easy as it looks to integrate this kind of feature. It's the same with like the B button to go back. We tried to integrate it at some point, but there was a lot of bugs with it. So as I feel like it's only a small quality of life things, and it would require a lot more than you could think, I'm not sure we will integrate this feature.
And that was a question from Galactic. And now Odrano Galder 23. I did make a tabletop RPG adaptation of Bounty Hunter to play with children, and that moment was so funny. Thanks for the inspiration. Nice. I'd like to hear more about that. My question is, any plans about multiplayer story mode or anything similar? Again, you might not have been there earlier when we said that, but story mode probably will not be implemented as of in a classic story mode way, but there will be an implementation of like the lore of the game with the encyclopedia, where you will be able to find all the information about the different characters, like their story and stuff that we've already shared when we release the character, and other information about the bosses, the enemies, and the world in general.
I'd love to see the tabletop RPG adaptation. I'm so curious now.
I'm curious as well. Question from Reddit. For local multiplayer we would play, will there ever be a split screen? No, I think we've thought about it at first when we started the game, but it quickly was out of the option because you don't want to share the screen, to have like a smaller screen for yourself, because like there is a lot of things happening already. So if you had like a super small screen to handle that many information, I think that would be super hard.
Yeah, it's already difficult when people like player are far apart from each other because they are near the screen edge. So having split screen would mean that we would need to zoom out the game, and that would be a lot more complicated. Also, in terms of design, it's really cool that you have to be together because you are chased down by the Undertaker, and you have to take care of each other, and you cannot just go on your own. And yeah.
Also, will you make it so that you can't cheese Denzel's first phase by standing behind him? Next question then.
Yeah, next question.
Also, will you add multiplayer for more than 4 people?
We never thought about that.
Yes, I don't think it crossed our mind.
I think it would be a bit too messy to have more player. So that would be fun, but nah, I don't think.
Yeah, it could get overcrowded.
And I don't think there is really a public for that. Also,
yeah,
4 is already a lot.
Yeah, you said that we were tracking some information, and we know that like 4-player multiplayer is like actually super low.
Yeah, I think it's less than 2% of game or 1% of game are played with 4 players.
So I doubt that 5-player or 6-player would be played at all.
Yeah.
So probably not, but
yeah, maybe someone could mod the game to add it
at some point. Yeah, he asked quite a lot of questions. And how many characters do you think there will be in total? I think there's 7 at the moment, and we think about having one more.
So 8.
So yeah, would be probably 8. Also, still from Relic on all this. I also want to ask if there would be more special deputies, not just better normal enemies. Well, there will be more when we add the other bosses, like because all the bosses come with their smaller version to be able to prepare for the boss that's coming. So there will be, since we add 2 more bosses, there will be at least 2 more.
Yeah, and about having special deputies, we thought about it, and that could be a way to have like more varieties in the deputies, and they could be other. The thing is that we have a specific workflow right now where deputies are similar to the enemies and to the sheriff, and so if we do that, it would be like more logical to have other type of golems, for example, other type of goblins, and other type of mage.
Basically the way we see things in terms of game design for this is like the normal enemies have to prepare yourself for their better versions. So if we were to put like goblins, golems, and the mages, and suddenly there is like a special deputies that has nothing to do with any of them, it could be a bit weird. Because you wouldn't be able to know what to expect from that enemy. You wouldn't know how it works.
But for example, we could have just an ID, probably won't be in the game, but a goblins, for example, that is a goblins, but that is a bit more angry, and it just chase you, and then he gets exhausted, and he just wait a bit and then chase you again, and that would still be a goblin, quite easy to understand. We could do that.
Yeah, but like I mean, the variation is like
still limited. Yeah.
Also, sorry, this is so long. Will you rework the bounty system? Not that I think of.
At first, we wanted to rework it. Like I introduced the bounty system as just you kill enemies and you get your bounty up. And then I thought like, oh, maybe when you collect coins, when you do this kind of specific task, you could also change your bounty. But in the end, I think the current system works well, so probably won't rework it.
He's updating it with the answers. Okay. And next question from George Harrison. Where would you like Bounty of One to be at the end of this year? Well, hopefully released. So we expect to release it around summertime. So maybe by the end of this year we would have released other things, but I'm not quite sure about that.
Yeah, we'll see.
So yeah, released is the answer to this one. Have you ever considered an expansion for online multiplayer? Again, like at the moment, it's a bit out of the question because it would require to redo the entire thing basically. So it's a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen if the game really go so popular that we can basically make the game again.
Yeah.
But yeah, currently, really.
What is your favorite part of being game developers for Bounty of One?
Well, I really enjoyed browsing the Discord server and see what people discovered about the game and getting feedbacks from players saying they like the game or even when they don't like the game. Like it's really cool to just discuss with the community and be engaged socially with our players. So that's one of the things I really enjoy, like pushing an updates and just waiting for a player to give us feedback. It's so enjoyable.
Yeah. I don't enjoy the Discord as much as you do. Not that I don't like talking with people, just like there is way too much going on and I cannot follow all of it. Or else I would spend my entire day doing that. But I think my favorite thing is just like you said, when we release a new update with new items and stuff, like seeing the reaction to it is quite nice. And on my side, creating the enemies and the characters and coming up on the fly with the lore is probably the most enjoyable thing for me. And next question, have you ever considered expanding your dev team? With the success of Bounty of One, that's something that we have to consider. Yeah, something that we're discussing at the moment, but it's not.
We always wanted to stay small. Like we want to keep being really close to our community, and we want to keep having like a big impact on the game design decision and be all over the development. So we might expand the team, but not a lot. Like we don't want to be a AAA studio or even the double I studio. Like we want to keep doing small games that we will love, and yeah, sometimes we will need more people because 2 is actually a really small number.
Yeah, like but I don't believe we would ever go over 10 or something.
Yeah, I think
really unlikely. Like even 5 at the moment would be a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't hear you guys. Any advice? I do hope that you've been able to solve that since then. Beanies. Yeah, she did. Okay,
nice.
Cool. Why can't we move while shooting? I like that mechanic. It makes the game stand out from others. Horde survival. Why? I think it was just the twist that we first implemented in the game.
No,
like
that was also it really changed the game dynamics. like you have to be more strategic in the way that you move in the game. You have to think about the right moments to stop, and it really make the things a lot more strategic and dynamic. Like there is really a skills that you need to have to be good at the game.
Yeah, and we
And
wanted also like somebody would be able to go all the way to the Undertaker, even like by not killing. If you were to be able to, like if you just avoid, you can still manage to win the game. You
oh
just have
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
take ages to kill the bosses because you will have 0 damage. But yeah, we wanted people to have to develop a skill outside of just picking the right objects, and just like you said, like manage their movement to be able to optimize it.
Mhm.
Much in the same way as like if you've played an ADC in League of Legends or whatever, you want to be able to move and stop at the right moment to be able to be the most efficient possible. So that was the whole thing about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
mostly for strategical movement, and it really changed the dynamic of the game, in my opinion.
Question. So that was a question from Johans, and now a question from Moose. Will there be more Easter eggs like the April Fools one? There might.
They might. We don't know yet, but next year there will be an April
Another
Fool.
the April Fools again. Uh, yep. It's not. It's definitely not out of the question.
Yeah,
Like because
it was quite fun to do that. So quite useless, but quite fun.
yeah, it's fairly easy as
So
well.
it could happen. We really enjoy having like events in the game. Like we did also something for Halloween last year. So probably we will do things similar again.
Are there enemies planned that don't actually attack you but do other things, create traps around you, or just wander around? We thought about it
Yeah, we thought
at
about
some
some.
point, and there might be eventually. It's not planned right now,
It's
but
not
it's not.
planned, but we discussed some enemies that buff some other. For example, there could be an enemies that put shields into other enemies, so you have to heal the support first. But at the same time, we felt like it might be difficult in terms of
Game design.
the game design, and also for the player, because you can't really decide to shoot one specific enemy, so you would need to be placed near the support, and it could be a bit frustrating and create traps. Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
That could work.
Yeah, the thing is, like you said, with the healer or support was like, yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive with the way the game works, where you don't choose where you will fire. You just fire at the closest enemy. That's why we scrapped as well the other one. At some point, we wanted goblins, much in the same way as in Diablo, where they just like go away, and they when you kill them, you might have a chest or something. But again, like you have no way of being sure to hit them specifically, so kind of it would be hard to implement in the game at the moment. But it's not out of question. Question from Yosuke: After the 1.0, do you plan to add more content?
Je ne sais pas.
Alexa just answered, apparently. Um, do we plan to add more content? We might, but we both want to be able to work on something else first. So I think we will work on another project first, and we might be able to come back at a certain point and like add some stuff to the game after a while. But I think we would like to explore other things after Plenty of One.
Yeah, but we still like Bungie of One, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
at some point we will come back to the developments, and we don't want
Yeah,
player to feel like
we don't want to just give up after the release. We will come back to it. But yeah, I think it's like every project at some point you want to
take a small break from
to
it.
take a break and do something else. So yeah. Question from Johans again. Who is Cobble and who is Bumpty? I'm Cobble.
And I'm Bumpty then.
That's it. Question from George Harrison. Have you thought at all about making Bounty of One more accessible for modders after release? Yes, that's something that we would like to implement.
Since it's the first game that we do is that big, I don't really know how to do that and to make the life of modders easier. So I will need to look into that and with the Steam Workshop thing. So I really think it's a great way for a community to keep on working on the game and do things together. But yeah, I will see how it works and how I can implement this.
And now a question from someone that I think might have just changed the name, so we'd say Alexa.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. Would you add more languages to the game? Yeah, we just released simplified Chinese today.
Yeah.
And we might add other languages. If
I'm thinking like my current plan for next language would probably be Korean and Japanese.
Yeah, sounds fair. Question from Beanies: How long it took you to make it to early access, and how big is your team? That's a fun question. So the team is just us two.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the answer of the question, but I think it's funny to mention that story. But like, we started Bounty of One in April 22.
Yeah, last year.
And we wanted to be able to participate into the Steam Fest of June. That's the first big step that we wanted to take, and we had to prepare for that. But in order to be able to participate in the Steam Fest, we had to have a Steam page ready in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we had nothing. Like there was no game at all. Like I think you had like some kind of like very bare bone project at the time. And so we had to, in 2 weeks, to be able to make enough visuals, enough gameplay, and enough items and everything to be able to make screenshots and make all the visual needed for the Steam page to be able to submit it for the Steam Fest. So it was quite a hectic 2 weeks.
And then on June, the game was up on Steam with the demo, and it started there. Like there was already some buzz about Bounty of One there, and so it was just like 2 months and a half, and we had a demo like from 0 to, and just with two of us. And then 2 months afterwards, I think there was the release of the early access. So from scratch to early access, it took us 4 months with just two of us.
I don't know, Galder23, just correcting myself, I wanted to say I made an RPG adaptation of Bounty of One. Yeah, that's what I got from it. But I got confused and called it by the name I gave to the adaptation, Bounty Hunter. And what kind of RPG was that? Is that like a D&D kind of game, or like tabletop with like figurines and stuff like this? I'm really curious.
Yeah, you're much into
I like D&D, like actually playing later tonight. Question from Orjak. There was no question to the other one. Question from Orjak 500. Do you gonna make a mobile version of the game? If yes, do cross-playing gonna be possible? First question, probably. Second question, I doubt so, but
Yeah, we will see if we do a mobile porting, but we are thinking about it. But the mobile version will be solo, I think.
Yeah, I doubt that would be possible to do otherwise.
So that will be solo only. I don't see people like playing on the same small screen from their mobile phones. So.
Do you plan to add any non-co-op modes for multiplayer? From Alexa again. Oh, you mean like
Versus mode.
versus mode?
Not really
it's not something that we've thought about,
but I think in terms of game design it would be quite difficult to integrate this kind of thing. People can already play kind of versus or cooperation when they play multiplayer because they can compete to get the highest bounty and just try to get the best upgrade as soon as possible. So it's up to the player, but I don't think we will push it forward with like real updates that make it versus.
Yeah, one of the concepts that we had for the multiplayer at first was cooperation, but you don't have to cooperate, so you can just pick the best items.
Yeah,
before your friend.
we called it co-petition in some way, but yeah, I think like versus mode could be interesting, but as there is too many projectile in the game, it would require us to really rethink how the game would work. So yeah, not planned at all right now.
I was not. So that was a question from Alexa. Question from Furkan Sprinter. I was not there. Sorry for asking again. How about multiplayer? Multiplayer is kind of out of the question because it would require quite a lot of work power to be able to pull it off. Basically, we would have to rebuild the entire thing from the ground up. So yeah, at the moment it's going to be remote play only and remain like this. However, we are thinking of making it easier for people to join games. But that's about it. A question from Spartan X. What are each of your favorite builds? I know you like dash builds.
Yeah, most of the time when I see steamboats, I take it. It's kind of sad because it's one of the least picked object, but I feel like it's one of the strongest ones. So yeah, I really enjoy doing dashes. In almost every build, it's possible to do dashes build because there is a lot of dashes objects, and it's really useful to have at least one AOE in a build. And for the character, I'd say my favorite character is difficult to say. I think I really like Natoko. I like the risk of being near enemies and get rewarded with like really fast attack speed.
For me, I don't really know which build I do prefer. I tend to like always try to do the best build possible depending on what I get. But I think I like the most the walking builds, like where you basically just like stop shooting at all and just walk around and kill people with onion and seismic dance and stuff like this. And my favorite character since the beginning has always been Nigel, because I just like how stupid he looks. That's it. When you max the super black market, question from Riddick, what do you plan to have people do with extra gold? I would actually be surprised by anyone managing that.
Yeah. At some points it costs really a lot to...
Because we set it up to be kind of exponential. So yeah, if you manage to do that, like, perks to you, I say. Like, you've spent quite a lot of time on Monkey of War.
Maybe too much time.
But yeah, prove us wrong and show us that it's possible. And second question, will you ever add QuickTime events? Probably not.
What does it mean?
It's like when you push a button at the right time.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think so.
I don't think it would have its place there.
Yeah, it doesn't really fit the game mechanics in my Actually, there is some of it with the Denzel fight in some way because you need to dash at the right moment. But yeah,
Question from Orjak 500 again. Do you know how you can kite in game? Like you can move for 1 second, stop for 0.1, just to shoot and repeat. You can do that if your attack is ready. I think it's
yeah.
the way it's set up.
Actually, there is a small delay, like obligatory delay. I think of 0.5 seconds between each of your shots once you move. So you cannot just mash your key button to kite all the time and move and shoot at the same attack speed rate. And at first it was like that in the first demo of the game, but then the strategy was to mash your keyboard as soon as fast as possible, and we didn't want people to just destroy their keyboard to win in our game. So now you can pretty much kite, but your attack speed is capped at like 2 per second.
Yeah, and you what?
Yeah, because you can only shoot every 0.5 seconds.
Yeah,
so it's capped at two shots per second.
Yeah, okay.
When you move.
Yeah. So you just have to wait for a bit before you can stop and shoot again. The idea of the project is really unique and incredible. Question from Baggy GP. JP. The idea of the project is really unique and incredible. How did this idea come to be? And second question: will the game be available on PC and or mobile? Does your project plan to do in-game activities with VR glasses in the future? So how the game came to be, I think we mentioned that earlier. It was basically a mashup of different genre of games that we liked.
And for the theme, it was because we already knew how we wanted the game to be in terms of gameplay. It's usually our workflow when we work on a new game. We first focus on gameplay and mechanics, and then on the theme. And for the theme, we had a lot of different ideas, but the idea was that you would be chased by a crowd. So one of the fun ideas we had was like the crowd would be paparazzi and you would be some kind of celebrities and everybody would go around.
Yeah, one of the ideas that we scrapped was basically you would have been some kind of demon lord or whatever, like a big bad guy, and like there would be small baddies like goblins and stuff coming to you for autographs and stuff, and you would just kill them as they go. But yeah, I was kind of stuck with that idea, like in a creatively, let's say, and then we just came up with the fantasy western genre.
Yeah, with bounty hunters and everybody wants you because you have a bounty on your head.
Yeah, and it made a lot of sense around the bounty coming for you.
I think it was also a lot easier to expand the lore, and the lore was more flexible with this kind of Western medieval fantasy. Like there is a lot of way to build things around, but with the paparazzi settings, it's a bit difficult to find new items, new enemies all the time.
Yeah, it would have been quite hard to find new ideas. And I think at first in the theme, before we started thinking about bosses and the way it would work, I think at first we were the bad guys. Now we are the good guys that have to get rid of the Undertaker. But at first, I'm not sure it was the case. We were just playing the bad guys, I think.
Possible.
Will the game be available on PC and on mobile? It is available
on PC, and it will be also available on macOS and Linux, but only when we release the game, since it's quite difficult to do builds for all the platform right now because we are doing updates every 2 weeks. If we would make like a macOS and Linux release every 2 weeks, it would delay the updates, and we don't want that.
And mobile is something that we are thinking about when it comes to release. And regarding VR, I don't think it would work with Bounty of One. Well, at least I don't see it working.
And even in our game studio, we don't really plan on doing VR things in the future.
Are there characters coming? Question from Wheel. There is at least one coming sooner rather than later, before the release, and it's already teased in the game if you pay attention. I'll just wait.
Okay. Okay, I will keep on going with the question then. Oh, okay, turned on the lights. Mobile games are popular this year and possibly in the future because they are simple and can be played anywhere and anytime. Will your game be available on the Play Store, App Store? How can I play OptizOnion in this time?
Yeah, basically the same questions before. Yeah, we are thinking about putting the game on mobile once we release, and it's probably going to be like some kind of premium version as well. But we still have to discuss how it will be there and whether or not it's a possibility. But yeah, that's something we would like to do. Your name is actually Alexa. It's funny because we just had or Alexa like answering a question, so we thought it might be a reference to that. Okay, hi Alexa. Another question from Baggy Baggy. Is there any multiplayer mod to play with my friends? And can I chat with them in game? There is no chat implemented into the game, but you can play any modes in the game with your friends through remote play.
Yeah, and you can chat with the Steam chat feature.
Question from Nicoli. Is there a limit on enemy HP since I get to a high enough level, nothing gets on the screen? Basically, the enemies will eventually be outscaled by how strong you get. Because I think you mentioning the endless mode, but yeah, at some point you will just like destroy them, and their HP will keep on increasing, but your DPS increases faster. So that's the way it will work at some point. Another question from George Harrison. Are there any YouTubers who you're really thankful for them showing off the game on their channel? Quite a few, actually. The first one that helped it through was I can't remember the name. Dex, yeah.
Yeah, Dex.
That was Dex in June when we were in the Steam Fest. And we had can't remember all the names. The one where he has like a
Wonderbots.
Yeah, there was Wonderbots as well at that time. Then later we had other of the same, a bit smaller. That there was one that is on the server. There was Deviant.
DeviantArt?
No, Deviant. Slick Deviant.
Slick Deviant.
Slick Deviant was one of them. And then after the release, there was the first big one was after the release. That was
Real Civil Engineer.
Really Civil Engineer.
Yeah.
And Dangerously Funny.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I should answer that because I remember all the names.
Oh, you remember all them?
Yeah.
Like I'm terrible with names, so go ahead if you remember all of them.
I don't know if we should talk about all of them, but really,
all the big ones?
like we are like thankful for basically anyone that did video on our game. But for example, there is also the German YouTuber End of Uncut, which made a video on the game that was quite popular, and we are really thankful for him. And we really enjoyed when a streamer and YouTuber play the game with some other streamer and YouTuber friends. It really makes it a lot more funny to watch.
Yeah, Blitz was fun. And we're really happy as well that so many people have made content of the game on YouTube and stuff, because at first we were kind of struggling because of One Piece as well. So
Yeah.
thanks for people to create content on the game. Now, if you search for Bounty of One, you can actually find it on YouTube.
Yeah, you don't find One Piece video with the Bounty Rush game or something.
Yeah. So yeah, we are thankful basically of anyone who made content over the months of development and the people that will make content from now on. Considering that you have a large number of opponents, can you share with us a few killing features that make you superior to them? What are strengths that enable you to look to the future with hope? Question from Baggy. Are you referring to the game or to life?
Yeah. Killing feature?
uh,
And
just take damage.
yeah, I don't
Like,
understand the question.
yeah, basically any item that helps you kill people will be efficient in that. But I'm not sure what you're referring to. So yeah, next one. So that was another one. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Baggy, talking about crypto games, since there is no crypto in our
There is
game.
no crypto in our game.
So I'm just gonna ignore that. Like D&D, so you set up the D&D kind of thing. Nice. With more simplified rules. Yeah, of course, because if you're playing with children, that makes sense. I was beginning to make a more dense version to play with my friends. Yeah, that sounds cool. So I'm guessing you're gonna implement the gunslinger and stuff like this. I think it was from Matt Mercer that created those. But I guess you would do that. According to the roadmap, what is our most important next priority? I think the buses.
Yeah, there would be buses. I think it's maybe also encyclopedia page.
Yeah, the buses and the encyclopedia would be the first focuses, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing on the roadmap for me is the new buses, the 2 new buses. It's really important that we have that for the release to have more diversity in enemies.
I got to 100k damage with 100% crits. With Onion, how long till enemy scale to that point? I would say never. Probably.
Yeah, for,
I'm not sure they will eventually. Well, they will eventually scale to that, but you will probably keep on increasing your damage until then. So I'm not sure they will scale up to that. Do we? Oh no, wait. What specifically is being done to ensure the sustainability of project by Angle?
Like it's more about like economic question on how we make games. I guess like the sustainability of the project. Um, I guess I will interpret it.
Wait, there is another one.
Oh, okay.
The question is your this is your community for English alone, or do you plan opening another community with different languages like Indonesian, Spanish, French, and other languages? Or also, this is going to help people to do not understand English to learn more about your project. You plan on doing market only on Telegram group alone? Why not other website like Twitter? We are actually on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Not sure about Telegram though.
No.
We're not on Telegram.
Like it's easier to communicate in English for us and for most people.
Yeah.
And actually, we are French, like we are Belgian, and we are French-speaking native. But we probably won't open like different Discord community for each of those language because it would be difficult to moderate. But we will keep adding new language to the game. There is already French, there is Chinese that just came out today, and we plan on keeping growing the community of the game. But since we don't speak all the language, we cannot communicate to everyone at the same time.
And in the same way, like if people want to do unofficial Discord, I guess they could.
They can, of course.
Like we don't mind that. So another question from Baggy: do you allow suggestions and feedback from community? Are we allowed in decision making? Do you put your community into consideration? Yeah, you can share your feedbacks and suggestion in the Discord.
Yeah, there is a suggestion
There is a
channel.
there's a channel specific for that.
Suggestions. It's there.
Yeah. So within the share with us section, there is a player suggestion channel that you can use.
Bug suggestion where you can report.
So yeah, that's actually that has been central to the development of our game. Like we have heard and put a lot of suggestion into the game already.
Of course, we keep like the last decision to ourselves, and it needs to fit like our design philosophy, etc. But we really enjoy having decision from the community.
George Harrison, I've almost maxed Super Black Market.
Wow. How many hours?
Is there a limit? Like
there is.
There is some limit to some, yeah. Baggy again. Project names always attract attention, and one wonders why they were chosen. How did you decide your project name? What is the meaning of importance of this name that defines your project in one word? We actually struggled to find a name.
Yeah, and actually it's very funny because the name was not chosen by us.
Not really, yeah.
Like we asked on the Reddit forum, like we have this game with this ID and this gameplay. Do you have like some idea of name? And some comes with bounty of one. Then we discussed a bit about it, and we felt like it worked well.
We had a few names before that I don't always recall.
Yeah,
one was Bounty Rush, one was Hunter, whatever. But every time we looked, we found one, and we looked onto the internet to see if it was free or not. It wasn't. Often for casino reason. And so then at some point we just asked on Reddit, and that one person said this name, and we were just like, well, sounds good.
Yeah. And actually we updated this person a few months ago to say, hey, we released the game with this name.
So I wouldn't say that the name itself is important. It's just a funny story, though.
Yeah, but I think it's important to have a great name when you do a game, but we didn't know that it would grow so big also.
Question from Alexa: what are your favorite games? You already answered that question, I think.
With Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire. I played a lot of Hearthstone also, even though I stopped playing right now. Recently, I played a lot of Wild Frost, which is
thanks to me.
roguelite card game. It's really, really cool. And I played a lot of Team Fortress 2, Overwatch at some point, but I don't play a lot of FPS anymore right now.
On my side, I'm a big Zelda fanboy, so that would be my preferred games. But outside of that, I've played quite a lot of Total War Warhammer, so nothing that looks anything like Bounty of One. But yeah, lately I've been a lot more into card games since we've started this, and we played quite a lot of Storybook Bros as well, and lately Wild Frost.
Yeah. Also, I really enjoyed Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, my favorite game are actually really also my inspiration for my games. So Slay the Spire and Binding of Isaac really shaped my game design philosophy. And the other game I really liked is like the Mario franchise, especially the Yoshi Islands. And actually, my pseudo, Bumpty, comes from Yoshi Island. The penguin in Yoshi Island, not in the Mario game, but in the Yoshi Island, the penguins are called Bumpty.
Second question from Alexa: Can we help translate? Yes, you can help with that. You can just like I think it's still by private message that you
Yeah,
work with that.
right now you can reach me in private message to ask for translation. We won't support all the language because like if some language is not really popular, like not really popular but it's quite unpopular, it's like we have to support it till the end. And as you do the translation for free, we cannot ask you to do the whole translation, so we are completely okay if you start the translation and then you stop because you don't have enough time. But then we still need to finish it, so we prefer to go with language that are more common than language less common.
Yeah. Do you think you will add some tradable items using Steam Marketplace? We're thinking about it.
Yeah, just the cards.
Yeah, just the cards. But yeah, probably yes.
Yeah, so no really tradable item, just the cards.
Just the cards,
the classic.
Question from Angle about the name OptizOnion. Actually, name and a logo is important for a proper image. Can you tell me, does the name OptizOnion have any special meaning for your project or team? Can I find out why you decided to choose such a name? They're gonna think that we don't care about our names, but again, it's more of a fun story. We were looking for a name for the studio, using our main pillars of like what we want to do. We're basically like optimization, simplicity, and cartoon, I think.
Yeah, cartoon, yeah.
So something of a funny vibe as well. And we wanted a game that worked with the kind of the Opti something, or that had Opti in it. And
optimization.
And at some point, I think it was you that said, as a joke, "OptizOnion," which in French is an expression that means like doing something really good, like really nice. And at first it was a joke, and then little by little we're just like, actually, it kind of fits. It works well, and we decided to keep it.
Yeah, so we say why not? And the logo is basically an onion with like real. I don't remember.
With a how do you say that?
No, it's not a wheel. It's
no.
I don't remember the name.
No, me neither.
English, but you can see the logo.
In the onion with like some part of mechanical stuff in it. So yeah. See you, Relic. It's probably like been like ages since you left. Question for Baggy. Top 3 feature of why investors should invest in your project. I
wasn't prepared to invest for right.
I wasn't expecting this question, this kind of question, so I haven't thought about it.
Well, I could say just we started really small and we managed to sell a lot of copies of Bunty F1 in such a short amount of time. So it means we know the market and we know how to sell games, I guess. So we have a lot more credibility than maybe some other indie game which didn't put game on the market yet.
Yeah.
I'd say it's what I would bring on front if I want to go to some investor.
We have some experience now to back up any eventual plan. But
we are smart about our strategy. Like we created this Discord to have everyone in our community. So we are really building things. So
Question from Ongle again. Currently, a lot of gaming platforms are based on hypothetical backgrounds. Did you choose this gameplay according to the trend, or is there any other reason? How did this idea come to your mind? Further, do you offer any detailed guidelines, including some videos for the players? What should be the ultimate target of a player? Is it to develop more killer feature maps as they can enjoy the game? I think we've mentioned most of the first part regarding like how we came up with the idea of the game. So I'm just gonna go past that. And further, do you offer any detailed guidelines, including some videos for the player? You mean guidelines as to how to play the game? If so, we don't specifically do it ourselves, but I know the community has come up with a lot of ways for a new player to improve themselves.
yeah, and when someone do like speak about advice on the Discord server,
Yeah, I think
we ask them to do guides on the Steam, and I think it's a lot cooler to see player making guides and talking about the game than just the dev saying, "Oh, this is how it should be played." It's really cool to see how people interpret the game and find out the best strategies.
And if you want to find some, you can find as well some on the Discord through the beginner's guide, I think.
Yeah.
In the Wild West part of the Discord. And when it comes to the ultimate target for a player, I'd say like it's up to any player. Like it could be reaching reaching the maximum infamy level. It could be filling up the super black market. It could be
I feel like
anything you want, as long as you're satisfied. I'd say.
But when I see the question with the killer feature, I feel like is referencing to the barter organization of games where there is killer, achiever, etc. And I think Ubuntu, I don't know if it was about that, but if it's about that, I think we are mostly targeting player which love to are more achiever, also explorers, because you can explore with a lot of different strategy items and you can be a bit creative. So there is these things, and we have a leaderboard, so we are also obviously appealing to the like more killer and competitors type of player. So it's a bit spread, but I think mainly it's explorer and achievers because there is the achievement and there is a lot of way to explore in the game.
Question from George Harrison. How did you two meet? And we don't talk about my playtime. Okay. We met at a training for video games in 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
Basically, it was a training of 6 months to be able to explore. For you, it was game design, and for me, it was video game art.
Yeah.
And yeah, we met there, worked on a project called Drafting Tower at the time, which was our first project together. You can find it on the itch.io if you want. And then we didn't meet for quite a while. We did another training right after that in dev.
Yeah, game
just
development.
Coding and stuff. And then we kind of parted ways for a while, and then came back together for a paid project, and then after that we decided to try and start something.
We had a contract to do a game for a client, basically, and when we did that, we realized that we were working really good together, and we really fit together, and it was really going well. So we thought, yeah, why not create our own studio
and try and do our own game?
Yeah.
Question from Mindcreeper. Are there any incoming performance upgrade? Because currently I know we are one. Some upgrades are right break the game in endless. Basically, like we mentioned earlier, kind of like something that we've done quite a few times and that we'll keep on doing, trying to optimize the game as much as possible. But it will always come to the point where if we optimize the game even further, you will be able yourself to be even stronger and stronger to a point where you will eventually still lag, but it will be a lag at level 60, 70 instead of earlier now.
Yeah, so short answer, we will keep improving the performance with updates, but will that be enough? We're not sure.
What are the chances we will ever see another genre of games in this universe, like an action RPG or a deck builder? Somewhat likely, I'd say, just not right after Bounty of One.
Right now, next game we will be working on will probably be a new IP, so new universe. But we might come back to Bounty of One because I really like the universe we created and the lore we created, and I think it's quite broad, and we could build upon that to create other game. But we need to take a small break from it before that.
Okay. Question from Mindcreeper: would you use crowding or similar service to use crowd-based translation of the game?
Maybe we'll be doing that. We will see. It's been discussed using crowding, so we will see.
Wait, 18 hours?
And almost. I think he's talking about black market.
Yeah, he's talking about the normal black market.
Yeah. So we shouldn't spoil it that there is something after.
He's so cute. That is all that is shown in your thing. Some short answer about multiplayer, if you will work on it. I asked, but sorry, I needed to go. We'll stay there until you answer. Furkan Sprinter, again, the short answer for multiplayer is no at the moment. Not something that we can do because it will require to redo everything basically.
Yeah, rework the project from scratch.
Oh, okay. So, like there we are. I'll share that with you. Will there be a bounty of 2?
Kind of an inside joke. We talk a lot about it.
We've been talking about that as an inside joke. Like when we got the name Bounty of 1, we were like, hey. Moreover, it's easy to make like the following up of this game. You can do like Bounty of 2, Bounty of 3, Bounty of 4. Easy. But it's not something that we're thinking about at the moment, no. But who knows what might happen in the future. Incoming performance up, I guess at which level. Okay, and another question from Alexa. Will there be a super dark alley level black market in the future? Like you mean another map that looks like a dark alley or something? Or do you mean like an other level of super duper black market?
And I think there is no more question for now.
Yeah, and right on time because we set up for like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
so
we planned on an hour and a half, so that's great.
Somebody's just like, quick, another question.
So thank you for being there and for supporting us and our game also.
Thanks for being there with us, and all your ideas, all your thoughts. It's really nice to have you all backing up our project. And have a good one. I don't know what time it is for you, but good night for on our side.
See you maybe next month then.
Yeah, probably. Have a good one.
Bye bye.
Cheers.